really far left leaning, and he's
Up there?
yeah, far left, and then he's kind of swung far right, but now he's like more in the middle, and he talks about
What are we going to do
the things
here?
he was saying
We got to
was
figure this out.
I know.
We can get rolling.
about people not being able to find jobs and stuff. He said we used to stay up late at night and he watched all these complicated truck driving.
Oh my gosh.
We live?
We are there.
Are we live or are we waiting?
We're like, we're not right job.
For those of you tuned in, we'll give it a few more minutes for some commissioners to show up with our weather today. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, my husband was a heavy equipment mechanic before he started doing his thing now.
All right. Thank you guys for your patience. Weather out there is crazy, so we'll go ahead and get this Tooele City Planning Commission meeting in order. This Wednesday, January 10th, 2023. It is almost 7:05 p.m. here in City Council chambers. Looks like our minutes taker, Catherine's not here, so please state your name in the microphone when you decide to speak. I'm sure she can decipher our voices already, but let's make it easy for her. All right, first item on our agenda is our Pledge of Allegiance. If you all please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kelly just asked me for a Zoom link, so I'm assuming he's not able to make it.
All right. Next item on our agenda is our roll call. Commissioner Hammer?
Here?
Commissioner Proctor?
Here.
Commissioner Sloan?
Here.
Commissioner Jensen?
Here.
Commissioner Dunn?
Here.
And I am Chairman Hamilton. I am also here. Let's please excuse Commissioners Anderson and Robinson. City Council members Hanson and Manzione, thank you for attending tonight. And from city staff, we got Mr. Hall, Mr. Agard, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Hanson, and Mr. Baker. Thank you all for coming tonight. Number 3 on our agenda tonight is a public hearing and recommendation. This one is continued from December 13, 2023. This is a consideration of proposed ordinance 2023-39, amending Tooele City Code, Chapter 2-9 regarding the landmark site designation process for the preservation of significant historical properties. Mr. Stewart.
Thank you, Commission. So I'll just review this a little bit, talk about what we've changed from December 13th to now, and just to make sure. So you might be familiar with it. Sorry if I'm repeating everything you already know as well. This ordinance creates a process by which we as a city, and specifically the Planning Commission, can designate properties as historic landmark sites. When a property is listed as historic, often we've talked about the National Register of Historic Places. The National Register opens opportunities and tools and such as historic rehab tax credits and that sort of thing for a property, but it does not preclude a property from being just torn down even the day after it's listed, right? So a local historic site and designation at a local level as historic provides the city with a tool to say, hey, we really care about this particular property or structure, and we want to make sure that it is preserved in perpetuity and protected from damage, from changes that would take away the historic nature of it, or from being torn down, right? So that's the purpose of this process, and to give a tool to protect specific important cultural properties, I guess, or historic properties. So what changed from the last version to this version is some parts of the requirements. Last time we talked about 50 years old, maybe not seeming that old, right? So we changed that requirement of the age of a structure to be 75 instead of 50 years old. We also changed a requirement that the property owner submit or like buy into and approve that they want this to be listed on as a local historic resource. And the other thing we changed was I think we took out a part that said it could be related to just a significant person living there. There was comments expressed that just didn't seem to be as relevant for us here. So those were the three changes, and I think that's really everything that is different from this process. I think I noted before, but I'll review just really briefly. The process for this would be that a property owner or the Historic Preservation Commission kind of initiates the process and gets the owner's approval. A site is submitted, there's an application made, and that's reviewed by the Historic Preservation Commission, and then brought with a recommendation to the Planning Commission for approval or not. So to have a site approved as a local historic site, it would have to be within Tooele City boundaries, be at least 75 years old, and have no major changes from its historic status or construction, I guess. So, and there's some other guidelines there. It would also either need to be one of the following: listed on the National Register of Historic Places, associated with events that are significant to the city, state, or nation, distinct in character, very unique, in terms of construction and design and architecture, or have specific archaeological, it doesn't have to be a structure necessarily, it could be an archaeological type of site too. So I think that's it. So I'm open and happy to answer any questions.
All right, let's bring this back to the commission for questions or comments.
Mr. Chair, I feel like you covered everything and changed the things that I was concerned about, so.
Me too. I had two issues and they're both dealt with, so.
Yeah, mine was the written permission from the.
Sounds pretty simple and easy then. All right. Without any other further questions or comments, this one does require a public hearing, it looks like. So we'll go ahead and open the public hearing now. If you'd like to speak to this particular item, please approach the podium. State your name for the record.
I thought the whole town would come out.
I know, huh?
They're sitting on 36 right now.
Yeah.
Coming here now. All right, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing on this particular item and bring it back to the commission to entertain a motion.
Are we just looking to send a positive recommendation or a recommendation?
Yes, this is a recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we move forward a positive recommendation on ordinance number 2023-39 landmark site designation process for the preservation of significant historic properties.
All right, I got a positive recommendation from Commissioner Sloan. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a second from Commissioner Hammer. Commissioner Hammer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Proctor?
Aye.
Commissioner Sloan?
Aye.
Commissioner Jensen?
Aye.
Commissioner Dunn?
Aye.
I am Chairman Hamilton. I also vote aye. That passes with a positive recommendation 6-0 heading up to the City Council. Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Appreciate that. Number 4 on our agenda tonight is a public hearing and decision for GeoFortis Utah LLC request a conditional use permit for the installation of a new 99.5-foot tall silo on the 6.88-acre processing plant site located at 1345 K Avenue in the Industrial Zoning District. Mr. Hall.
Thank you. That is a great introduction. 99.5 feet tall. Let's start with that. The GeoFortis site is in operation. It was given a conditional use permit not long ago to run heavy industry here. So they process an ash mineral that's used in concrete. This silo is intended to add to their storage capacity, and that lets them better manage their loads and deliveries and just their business in general, having more storage capacity. It is 99.5 feet tall. Anything over 70 feet requires the Planning Commission's approval for conditional use permit. So this technically amends the existing conditional use. 70 feet would be the other. The original, 70 or 75 is the original that's allowed. Anything greater than that requires your approval as a commission. The site is here in the industrial depot area, in the industrial zone at K Avenue, as we talked about. The existing site, it's in operation, as we said. There are 3 existing silos and some other storage facilities. The silo in question would be placed here. It's in an area where there's some drainage. There's a drainage basin there, a storage basin there that has to be expanded in other parts of the site to make it work. I bring that up because this is a good point to tell you. There's also a site plan approval that has to go with this silo addition. That's in the works. So engineering will be reviewing their drainage, making sure the storm drainage is still handled on the property appropriately, et cetera. The new silo won't really change any needs for parking. A couple of more employees will be available there, but there's ample parking for employees. We didn't notice any concerns with that as staff when we were reviewing. The other thing to note is that, again, this silo would be constructed. It is a little bit taller than the others. These are some elevations that were done that show kind of the massing of those silos on the site with the other buildings that are there. It doesn't feel too inappropriate, given that the height is additional, but there are other tall buildings on the property as well. Those storage silos, we are recommending as a staff that you approve the amended conditional use permit to allow the silo to go up to the 99.5 feet. But we do want to just reestablish that condition. There were a couple of conditions that need to be reestablished, and we've got those listed here as well. So truck traffic in and out was a concern when it was approved before. We haven't had any complaints that I know of that for truck traffic, so they are abiding by that. We just want to make sure that that continues. And those are the conditions, those 7 conditions. Do you have any questions for staff about the Geofortis silo?
Let's bring this back to the commission. Anybody have any questions or comments for staff? None. Pretty straightforward. All right. Thank you, Mr. Hall. This one also does require a public hearing, so I'll go ahead and open the public hearing for this particular item. If you would please approach the podium, state your name for the record. Seeing no one approach, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and bring this back to the commission for any other further questions or comments. I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Chairman, I move we approve the request for conditional use permit application P23-1479 by Geofortis, Utah, to allow the location of a new 99.5-foot high storage silo on the property located at 1345 K Avenue in the industrial zoning district based on the findings of fact and subject to the conditions of approval listed in the staff report dated January 4th, 2024.
Got a motion to approve from Commissioner Hammer. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from Commissioner Dunn. Commissioner Hammer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Proctor?
Aye.
Commissioner Sloan?
Aye.
Commissioner Jensen?
Aye.
Commissioner Dunn?
Aye.
I'm Chairman Hamilton. I also vote aye. This one passes 6-0. Moving on to number 5 on our agenda tonight is a public hearing and decision for Chad Griffith representing Hoot Owl LLC request a conditional use permit to allow the installation of a new cellular monopole in property located at approximately 2400 North, 200 East in the industrial zoning district. Mr. Hall.
Thank you. I didn't notice Mr. Griffith come tonight, but the snow is probably keeping people away. This is a request for a monopole, a cellular monopole. It is a permitted use in the zoning that we're in. This is the property. You can see 700 West here, 650 North. It's in the light industrial zone, which normally allows cellular monopole. Without planning commission approval, it's a permitted use. However, the height is the theme for the evening. As you've noticed, we sometimes have themes in our planning commission meetings. Tonight's theme is extra height. So going up to 110, we can allow as a planning commission 110 feet for monopoles. So that is the request for the conditional use. Otherwise, it would just be going through site plan review. But that, again, that's another point that should be made. This still goes through site plan review, so there are some things that we'll need to review that are not necessarily pinned down yet. For example, the exact location, there is a lease area for this monopole, but there's a lack of improvements at 7th West here, at 700 West. So we'll, in the future, as we get that ready through site planning, we'll determine the exact distance back to the lease area and the paving material to get there, the gate situation, et cetera. We want to make sure that we get truck traffic to that site off of the road before they can unlock a gate, because these are secured sites. And that's one of the other conditions that we have recommended, that these kind of sites, one of the challenges is that people like to climb up on these poles, so you keep pegs, climbing pegs up at least 20 feet so they can't easily get to those, and you gate the sites, 8-foot fences, locks, et cetera, to secure those. That'll be a condition of approval as well. One of the things we want to talk about too is the area that it's going into. We can keep it the appropriate distances. It's going in this north part of the parcel. That keeps it the appropriate distances from the other residential areas that are there. We want to make sure that it's not impactful to them visually. The distances are great enough that we feel like it's manageable in terms of the height and the visual impact. And staff is recommending that with these conditions, these 7 conditions, it would be appropriate to approve the additional height up to 110 feet for that cellular pole. Do you have any questions for staff?
All right, before we get into the questions and comments, let's please recognize Commissioner Anderson made it tonight. Thank you, sir. I'm glad you made it safe.
This building was locked up tight at 6:40 and I went home.
All right, do we have any questions for staff on this particular item?
I've got one.
Yes, Commissioner Sloan.
Jared, you feel like you can keep the distances from the existing stuff. Is this presence of this on this property going to preclude a developer, say to the north and the east, where we get that big area, from developing? Are they X'd out?
That's a good question. No, the distances are far enough to the east that we won't have a problem. We need to maintain at least 300 feet. And to the west, it's industrial, light industrial zoning, so we shouldn't have issues.
Perfect, thank you.
It's a good location for it. Good question, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the commission? All right, this item also requires a public hearing, so I'll go ahead and open the public hearing right now. If you'd like to speak to this particular item, please approach the podium, state your name for the record. All right, seeing no one approach, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. The applicant is not here tonight, probably due to weather. Let's hope everybody's safe. So let's bring this back to the commission for any other further questions or comments. All right, I'll entertain a motion on. Oh, Roger, Mr. Baker.
Should I mention the comment that was emailed in?
Oh, yeah, good point.
I saw the same one twice. I didn't see this. Oh, okay.
Oh, and I don't have access to the one coming in right now, so if somebody could read those, that would be good.
Yeah.
I can address that first one if I can, because it goes along with Commissioner Sloan's question. They were concerned about the impact that this tower would have on the city's plans to reuse the sewer plant property for a park. And the Parks Director was involved in the siting of this tower, as well as the Public Works Director and City Engineer and myself, to avoid any conflicts with future city purposes. And also, as to the residential to the east, we have worked, we've negotiated an amendment to the development agreement with Bach Homes to move its Phase 14 homes further east and swap them with the location of a park. So the Copper Canyon Park would become adjacent to the city park area and expand a single park area instead of having 2 park areas divided by a road and 2 rows of homes. So I think all of that is resolved, and I have not seen the second comment.
Councilwoman Manziel, do you want to?
The second comment says, the tower that is currently on the property in question is very loud. Will a permanent tower be as loud or louder than the temporary one? Also, we were told there would be a park on this property. Will this new benefit this process?
I think City Attorney already spoke to the second half of that question. I'm not aware of the temporary tower, so I don't know about the noise from that.
Yeah, the temporary tower is powered with a generator. The permanent tower will have permanent power, and they have a utility easement from the city to put that power in. So, and all the units will be enclosed. So I would anticipate it would be much less noisy than the generator.
Great.
Well, that's good to know. Absolutely, yeah. All right, any other further questions or comments from the commission? All right, I'll entertain a motion on item number 5 on our agenda.
Chairman, I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Proctor.
I move we approve the request for conditional use permit application P23-1522 by Hoot Owl LLC to allow the installation of a 110-foot high monopole tower on a portion of the property located at 650 North, 700 West in the Light Industrial Zoning District based on findings and fact and subjects of approval listed in the staff report dated January 4th, 2024.
I have a motion to approve from Commissioner Proctor. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a second from Commissioner Jensen. Commissioner Hammer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Proctor?
Aye.
Commissioner Sloan?
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Jensen?
Aye.
Commissioner Dunn?
Aye.
I am Chairman Hamilton. I also vote aye. That one passes 6-0. Or 7-0 now. Yep, we got a new one here. Thank you for that. Keep me on my toes here. I like it. Number 6 on our agenda tonight is also a public hearing and decision. Same application. Chad Griffith, representing Hoot Owl LLC, requested conditional use permit to allow the installation of a new cellular monopole on property located at approximately 650 North, 700 West in the General Commercial Zoning
That's what
District.
we just did.
Mr. Chairman,
Is that- Did we skip
Mr.
one?
Chairman, you've got the addresses kind of swapped on the 2 monopoles.
Yeah.
This is the 2400.
Okay. Let's fix that one, kid.
just
This
to
is the one,
clarify.
the last one we just voted on was the one at 650 North, 700 West. This new one that we're going to be reading now is 2400 North and 200 East.
Right. Thank you. Yes, perfect. Thank you. This is the same applicant, same kind of tower, same issue, 110 foot, requires your approval as a planning commission. This tower will be located on school district property, if it's approved, up in this corner, the northeast corner of the school district property, as 2400 North comes down. It's a large property. The school is being constructed there, Deseret Peak High School. It is zoned to allow the tower, but again, needs your permission as a planning commission to go taller, the 110 feet. There's a lot of open space in the area, but in this particular situation, more likely commercial development that kind of helps to mute that size, that extra height, and make that more palatable around. There are, again, some residences, but most residences in this area are 1,000 feet away or more by our measurements, so we don't have any problems for location to residential zoning, et cetera. The tower itself, again, is like the other tower. It's designed to co-locate other antennas, so we get fewer poles and more antenna is usually the goal. This site, again, like the other that we mentioned, we're going through site plan review as well right now to determine the surfaces that are necessary and the exact location. We need a certain distance from the street to get the trucks off of the road. 2400 North has not been continued that far quite yet, so there'll be some improvements that we need to hammer out as a staff, but we're prepared to do those things. This is, as you can see, if you want to be able to place this tower where it would be, this is the big drainage basin in back of the Home Depot building. So it'll be just to the west of that and along the street frontage there. But again, we want to make sure they come off the street before they have to open those gates to secure the site. The same conditions are in place for this tower as would be in place for the other. So those are they. If you have any questions for me about this one, I'm happy to try to answer those.
All right, let's bring this back to the commission for questions or comments. Commissioner Sloan.
I'll ask the same question I asked on the last one, especially directly north of that site, there is future developed residential land as well as commercial.
Potential development.
Are we going to have any issues with that?
We shouldn't. No, there's enough distance from this tower site across the property because we'll be locating at a certain distance from the street as well. And then you've got the right-of-way and then setbacks, et cetera. We should not have a problem.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Sloan. Any other questions? All right, this item also requires a public hearing, so we'll go ahead and open the public hearing for this one. If you would, please approach the podium. State your name for the record. All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing on this item and bring it back to the commission for any further questions or comments. Yes, Mr. Baker.
As Jared has pointed out, this is not a site plan review, and we're not reviewing things that are reviewed in the site plan review. but I want to make the record clear that approving the conditional use permit would not approve access directly onto 2400 North. That issue, I believe, is still being discussed. 2400 North is a wide controlled access road that typically does not allow direct drive access. This tower may need to be accessed from the landlord's property, the high school property. Again, that's a site plan issue. I just don't want any misunderstanding that tonight approves the access location. It does not. It only approves the use and the conditions.
Perfect. Thank you for that clarification. That's very helpful with that. Anything else from the commission on that one? All right, I'll entertain a motion for this one.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Jensen?
I move we approve the request for conditional use permit application number P23-1520 by Tooele LLC to allow the installation of a 110-foot monopole tower on a portion of the property located at 2400 North, 200 East in the General Commercial Zoning District based on the findings of fact.
I have a motion to approve from Commissioner Jensen. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from Commissioner Hammer. Commissioner Hammer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Proctor?
Aye.
Commissioner Sloan?
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Jensen?
Aye.
Commissioner Dunn?
Aye.
I am Chairman Hamilton. I also vote aye. That one passes 7-0. Number 7 on our agenda tonight is a review and recommendation for consideration of a request by Matthew Scott representing Richmond American Homes to amend lots 237, 238, and 239 of the Drew Moore at Overlake Phase 2 plat located at 18 East Broxburn Way, 12 East Broxburn Way, and 1532 North Bain Way in the R17 zoning district. Mr. Hall.
Thank you. That's a mouthful to get all those addresses out on this plat amendment. It is a fairly simple plat amendment. We're not adding any lots or eliminating any lots. This is the existing lot line as it stands. Those 3 lots that are involved in the Drew Moore at Overlake Phase 2 subdivision plat. The amendment, I'm just going to show you real quickly. This is the amended plat. That doesn't mean much to you looking at it just as the amended plat. This is the amended plat portion of those lots next to the original platted lots. And what happens basically all happens right here. So this line bends and creates more frontage for this for lot 237, makes the lot more buildable, and doesn't impact these lots. It actually gives them a little more space and creates a more buildable lot at lot 237 because of increasing that frontage width. So it's a good change, a very simple one. But again, you can see the existing lot sizes, the proposed lot sizes. They're all still maintaining the requirements of the R17 zoning, and that's what's important for us. The engineering all works out. It doesn't affect drainage, easements, etc. So we are recommending approval of this amendment. It's fairly simple, but it does need to go from you. At this point, it still goes from you as a commission to the council with a recommendation.
Perfect. Thank you for that clarification. Let's bring this back to the commission for questions or comments. Hearing and seeing none, this is a recommendation to go up to City Council, so I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, Chairman.
Commissioner Proctor?
Make a motion for a positive recommendation of approval to the City Council for application number 23-786, request by Richmond American Homes to amend the plat of Phase 2 Drumore Overlake subdivision based on the findings and subject to the conditions listed in the staff report dated January 5th, 2024.
Okay, I've got a positive recommendation from Commissioner Proctor. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a second from Commissioner Dunn. Commissioner Hammer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Proctor?
Aye.
Commissioner Sloan?
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Jensen?
Aye.
Commissioner Dunn?
Aye.
I am Chairman Hamilton. I also vote aye. That's a positive recommendation going up to the City Council. All right, cruising through. Moving to number 8 on our agenda tonight is a review and a decision. This is continued from July 26, 2023. It's a consideration of a request by Leitner Poma to utilize an alternative material for parking service on their project located at approximately 600 South Tooele Boulevard in the TCBP zoning district. Mr. Hall.
All right. This was almost the theme for tonight, things that have been continued. So things that have been continued for 200 points will start now. So design review was performed in July and given for this project. The difference here, the reason for the continuance was that they had an alternative material they wanted to use for the parking. That was the request. Can we use this other material for overflow parking? There were some questions for engineering. Wanted to make sure those were answered. In the intervening time, subject property is again in that TCBP zoning. The engineer from the project has been back and forth with the city engineer about the grading, how much grade is appropriate, if the material will drain properly and still maintain integrity for the site. Soils reports have been reviewed, et cetera. And the city engineer has approved, has given his approval to the use as long as it's overflow parking. So there is primary parking that's paved and this overflow parking with the other material. So we are still recommending that it could be approved for this alternative use. The areas that are used for the alternative material are shown here. So there's regular parking up in this area. This is all overflow. So it would be an alternate material, a gravel material, some milled material. But it will still drain and hold the weight of vehicles, et cetera, when it needs to. So that's our recommendation, but it does need to, it was a continued hearing, so it should be opened again, and then a decision made. Do you have any questions for us at Paul's here tonight?
Questions for staff for this? I know it was a pretty long discussion the first time. Commissioner Proctor.
No, I noticed in this review that the fire department had concern for access back there, not having a solid material back there. Has that been addressed? Are they?
Paul can probably address that better than me.
Sure, stay here.
Okay,
Don't run away.
I will lean on the podium.
The only area that they're talking about has been referenced is the area shown in the rust color or the brown color on the screen. All of the light gray is standard asphalt designed for heavy truck traffic, which includes the fire loop around the entire building. This material is something that will require maintenance, especially after it's rained on and heavy rain. But where it is purely overflow secondary parking, and they've agreed to maintain it, I don't believe we have a reasonable reason to say they can't use it. All primary parking and essential areas remain standard asphalt paving.
Okay.
Any other questions for me?
Actually, I do have a question about the percolation with this and it being so near the well. What effect does that have?
Yeah, we looked at it, and we don't believe this will be a primary issue because it's mostly trailers that'll be parked in that area, not vehicles that have the fluids and other materials in it. There is some natural inhibition from this, from allowing leaching because of the asphalt of the material itself, but we believe that this satisfies the intent, that it will not adversely impact our well. You're correct, our well is just to the north, just to the west of this drawing, up on the drawing just a bit. Yeah, it's to the west of the building. Yeah, but yes, we're aware of those concerns, and we believe we've worked through them okay.
Good question.
Very good question. Thank you.
Commissioner Jensen?
Yes. Is their primary parking, is that adequate for like their building as far as the city code goes?
Yes. In terms of the number of stalls?
Stalls
yes.
and everything? Okay. All right.
Good questions. Any other questions from the commission? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Appreciate it. All right. And this is a decision. So I'll entertain a motion on this decision.
Chairman, I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Hammer.
I move we approve the design review request by Steve Peterson, representing Reeve and Associates, to authorize the use of asphalt milling gravel in parking areas as designated on the site plan. Application number P23-511, based on the findings and subject to the conditions listed in the staff report dated July 14th, 2023.
I got a motion to approve from Commissioner Hammer. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second from Commissioner Jensen. Commissioner Hammer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Proctor?
Aye.
Commissioner Sloan?
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Jensen?
Aye.
Commissioner Dunn?
Aye.
I am Chairman Hamilton. I also vote aye. That one passes 7-0. Number 9 on our agenda are the city council reports. Ms. Manzione.
Hello. We, at our last meeting, we made our decisions about board assignments and council commission assignments, and for better or worse, you are stuck for another year with Councilman Hanson and myself.
Darn.
So we're here.
I appreciate you battling for us too. I watched. We're kind of a big ticket, so I know everybody wanted to come.
Everybody wants this one. We won. Okay, and then I was able to share my notes from your last meeting at our council meeting. We had a couple of decisions that we talked about from your last meeting. So first was the multifamily residential building materials. We did approve that as presented, so the same as you approved. Amending the Tooele City annexation plan. We approved that plan by just removing the parts of the annexation plan that are already in other cities. So we took out all of those that are in other cities and left the rest. We felt like the process we had is good. So, and then the last thing was the Marcosian auto change of zone. We talked about that quite a bit, and we decided to deny the zone change and ask, for a change in the text that would allow that. And I think since then the staff has talked about it and worked out something with Marcosian so they can move forward with the zoning as it is. So all ended well.
Oh, perfect. Good
job.
Anything else? Any questions
from you?
from council? Great work, guys. We appreciate all your help.
Thank you.
Oh, and they swore in the new councilman.
They swore in the new councilwoman.
They swore in some new council people.
Good. All right, number 10 on our agenda is a business item. Is it for us to approve our scheduled planning commission meetings for 2024? Mr. Agard.
Thank you, Chairman. This was supposed to be done at your last meeting of 2023, but I neglected to have that on your agenda. So it's here for you today. In your packets was a memo that had the dates of the meetings as well as a calendar that showed the dates of the meetings as well as some other crucial deadlines. You'll note that July only has one meeting, as the second meeting would fall on the 24th, which is a state holiday. So the schedule is only for 21 planning commission meetings this year instead of 22. So you now have 20 to go after tonight. But the schedule's in there. We just need your approval, and we'll move forward.
All right, perfect. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review that real quick. Is there any questions or comments?
Just a comment, I really like to decide maybe we showed all the deadlines and everything for the package. That
Yeah,
was
it's very
really
helpful.
nice to see.
Good. Thank you for the transparency. All right, I'll entertain a motion on this one.
Move that we approve the calendar as presented.
Got a motion to approve from Commissioner Sloan. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Proctor. Commissioner Hammer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Proctor.
Aye.
Commissioner Sloan.
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson.
Aye.
Commissioner Jensen. Aye. Commissioner Dunn.
Aye.
I am Chairman Hamilton. I also vote aye. That one passes 7-0. Next on is a review and approval of our Planning Commission minutes for the meeting held on December 13th, 2023. Are there any corrections or additions or anything that needs to be fixed? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the minutes from December 13th, 2023.
Got a motion to approve from Commissioner Hammer. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Jensen. Commissioner Hammer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Proctor.
Aye.
Commissioner Sloan.
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson.
I'll abstain.
Commissioner Jensen.
Aye.
Commissioner Dunn.
Aye.
I'm Chairman Hamilton. I also vote aye. Those pass with the 6 yes, 1 abstain. Moves us on to number 12 on our agenda is a motion to adjourn. Do I have one?
You do. So moved.
I got a couple, so we're adjourned. Thank you.
Also